Hello and welcome to my video. If you're hearing something in the background, no you didn't. It's just background noise from YouTube. So, I am doing a video for my paranormal channel. As you can see, I'm on Reddit. Yes, we are doing like paranormal videos. Literally. Okay.
The hype surrounding the 2018 Champions League final was like no other. Serial winners Real Madrid came up against a Liverpool team firing on all cylinders. With the odds stacked against Madrid, Sergio Ramos knew he needed to do something to give his teammates a fighting chance.
To find a story
so as soon as the game started, he did this.
Oh, just a heads up. If anyone probably heard about this, Dave.
It's in the pulse of those who never stop getting the job done.
Not Dave, Dan Farah. He passed away of something, probably a heart condition, I don't know. He was the one who was handling Annabelle. So, yeah, that happened.
This isn't kid stuff. This is adult thrills. Because when the sun goes down, we bring the heat. On repeat, bring the heat.
It's insane, right?
Stars, we're all adults here.
You ready for the Champions League? Stop. Bro turned into a Taekwondo black belt just to take out Liverpool's star man. With their best player gone, they played like a sorry version of
Sorry
themselves
if
and
a
eventually
bit
lost
quiet.
the final.
It's just I'm looking for stories.
Paranormal was great. The Paranormal good. I want to start the game. I want to play. But in the meantime, I know that I'm not fit at all to play.
Ooh, I found one from user Chica Chad 8055. My grandmother saw something creepy hours before she passed. You know it's short. It says a few hours before my grandma passed away, she was bedridden and couldn't walk. Suddenly she licked her hand and waved it, saying, "Go away, go away." When we asked what was wrong, she told us she saw a shadowy figure in the room that scared her. At the time, we didn't understand what she meant, but looking back now, it feels it might have been a warning or maybe something coming for her. Has anyone else had a loved one experience something like that before they died? I believe she experienced
His latest display of madness got him a 10-match ban. After receiving such harsh suspensions, everyone thought Suarez would stop. But no.
I read another one from user Much Evening 6686. What happened during the paranormal TV shoot that never aired?
Amazingly, he somehow escaped.
Okay, let's get this done so I can get this video for you guys. This is something that happened back when I was working as a production assistant in a paranormal TV show.
They suspended him from all football-related activities for 4 months. It
happened during filming of one of the paranormal
$100,000
specials that used to do on location. The concept of the shoot is simple. Within a psychic would visit ordinary people's homes and perform exorcisms on the spirits sent to haunt them. Just to be clear, I'm not going to reveal who the psychic was, and I appreciate if no one tries to guess or speculate. I have absolutely no intention of criticizing or slandering them. You guys better not.
As expected, he got home the next morning with a headache. Instinctively, he walked into the kitchen, checked the medicine box, took a pain reliever, and went about his day. During a routine doping test,
there was a reporter, a psychic, a cameraman, and a few crew members like me, but none of us, including myself, had any sort of spiritual sensitivity. The house we visited was in an old town somewhere in Massachusetts. If I remember correctly, my memory's a bit hazy, so I'm sorry if I got that wrong. It was a large old house, and the request had come from the wife who lived there. Ever since they bought the house, she said strange things have been happening constantly inside. And bad luck had been plaguing their lives. The wife had very strong paranormal spiritual sensitivity. She said a young boy was wandering all through the house. Toys started moving on their own, even when no one was nearby. They would hear crying from the bathroom and the sound of footsteps running rapidly across the second floor day or night. She said there had been accidents and spiritual disruptions happening frequently, hearing all the famous psychic began walking through the house, performing an exorcism. All spirits dwelling in the house had been cleansed. You may now return to your normal life. You no longer be troubled by evil spirits. And with that, the psychic part was done and shit wrapped up without any issues. The reporter and the psychic headed back to the production van. The rest of the crew were cleaning up, and I was sitting alone in the dining kitchen room. I happened to glance over and saw the wife standing in the corner of the kitchen, head down, wearing a deeply troubled expression. Something about it bothered me, so I asked if everything is all right. She suddenly looked up at me and asked with a serious, almost angry grace, "Can that psychic really see spirits?" I stammered, "They really quite famous in the field." Then she said, "Then why didn't they notice? The child spirit's been clinging to my leg ever since that person stepped into the house." I looked down at her feet and I couldn't see anything. Still, the thought crossed my mind. What if something was clinging to her leg, staring up at me from down there? Just imagining that sent a chill down my spine. Needless to say, that episode was scrapped and never aired. That's freaky.
Since winning the case, Pogba has been training in Miami. Recently, he was out playing football with YouTuber Speed. I must say, it's nice to see him smiling again. But even such a remarkable comeback couldn't break into our top 10. You have to see the bloody lengths a goalkeeper went in our #1 pick. But before we get to that, let's look at a player who made his teammate fake an injury. In a match between Ajax and Feyenoord, the boys in red and white were desperate to hold on to their slim lead with just a few minutes left. So when Anthony went to clear the ball, he suddenly fell to the ground like he was injured. Now, everyone at the stadium knew he was pretending. Heck, even the Feyenoord manager couldn't contain his laughter. But the Brazilian kept up his act.
Okay. I'm going to...
More ridiculous, his captain pushed him to the ground to further waste time.
Sorry if I'm burping.
This guy might genuinely be a good comedian, but the referee was in no mood for jokes and promptly gave him a red card for his antics. While this was all fun and games, one of Barcelona's proudest moments was a huge compilation of cheating and corruption. Paris Saint-Germain shocked everyone when they beat Barcelona 4-0 in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League knockout game. With such a huge lead over their opponents,
Okay,
everyone had written
Bluebell
Barca
Hill
off.
Ghost
As the second leg started, Barca quickly rushed into a
from
2-0
Kent,
lead in the first half.
UK. Okay, first time reports of the Bluebell
PSG
Hill
still felt comfortable.
Ghost.
The second half began controversially as
Yes.
Barca were given a penalty
You
for
heard me
this
right.
challenge.
Sorry, I had to fix the camera a bit. Okay.
A few minutes later, the referee denied PSG a penalty from this game.
Ratchitzer man in 1969, 4 years after the incident that
PSG then scored an
the
all-important
motorcycle.
away goal to
Okay,
kill the game.
sorry. The ghost of Bluebell Hill is one of the most
So they
famous
thought.
ghost stories
In the
ever
game's
to come
9
out
minutes,
of Kent.
Luis Suarez
It has
cheated to
been
earn
happening.
Barca
It has been reported in several national newspapers over the years, with many reported repeated experiences. Unsuspecting motorists have witnessed a bride running in front of their car late at night, often locking eyes with them before being hit and vanishing. No evidence of a collision has ever been found, nor has there ever been a victim found either. It is believed to be a ghost of a woman who died in a tragic car accident in 1965 near the bridge over the old Chatham Road. 2 cars were involved in the collision. 3 out of 4 women in the one car tragically died. One of the women was a bride-to-be, who was due to wed the following day. Is this the woman who continues to haunt Bluebell Hill? As well as the reports of the ghost jumping in front of cars, there has also been 4 reported experiences of a female hitchhiker on Bluebell Hill. Motorists pulled over to pick her up, only for her to disappear from the black seat shortly after setting off. Now back to the Rochester man in 1969. 4 years after the incident, or the accident, a man on his way home late at night saw 2 pedestrians walking towards him when they suddenly disappeared. On another occasion, he witnessed the pedestrians again walking across the road. However, a car drove straight through them this time. Maurice Goodenough, 1979. In the early hours of July 13th, 1974, Maurice Goodenough, a bricklayer in Rochester, drove through the Blue Hill when a young girl jumped in front of his car. The girl just walked out in front of me from the edge of the road, he said. My car hit her with the hell of a bang. He jumped out of the car to attend to the girl, who he found laying in the road with a cut on her forehead and grazes on her knees. He covered her with a blanket and tried to wave down passersby, but no one would stop. He thought it would be unwise to try and move her to his car, so he rushed off to Rochester police station to report what happened. They returned to the scene, finding nothing but the blanket Goodenough had placed over her. A search was called in a nearby area, but there was no success. The search resumed at dawn with tracker dogs, but no scent track or blood could be found. A check on the hospital admissions and a newspaper appeal for the missing child was carried out, but no one stepped forward. Goodenough was interviewed by the News of the World that Saturday night and was still shaken up in adamant that he had hit a girl. I'm not going mad, he said, but where did she vanish? I'm still shaking from the experience. The press jumped to the assumptions that the girl must have been a ghost. In their research about the incident in 1965 and the legend of the hitchhiking ghost results in the conclusion that the girl must have been a ghost. The fact that the girl, her appearance in the vicinity of the 1965 crash, after her vanishing after the incident, and the fact Goodwin's car was damaged all point to this conclusion. And we're jumping to 1992. One Saturday evening in November, it was late when Ian Sharp, a 54-year-old coach driver, was on his way home to Maidstone when a young woman appeared directly in front of his vehicle near the Alford southbound turn off of A229 at Bluebell Hill. The woman strangely stared right into his eyes before he hit With the body going under the bonnet, mortified, he slammed on the brakes and jumped to help the woman. I honestly thought I killed her, he said. You can't imagine how it felt. I was so scared to look, but I knelt and looked straight through. There was nothing there. He then looked around the vehicle and at the side of the road, but found no one. So he was so sure he was hitting the woman, went to the police station at Rochester to try to tell them about the incident. Aware of the area and its reports, the police explained the legend that surrounds the area. Needless to say, the police returned with him to the scene, and sure enough, search proved fruitless. Ian Sharp later described it as the most terrifying experience of his life. Also later that month, in a year, two motorists report hitting a woman wearing a red scarf near the Robin Hood Lane junction at Bluebell Hill. They searched and informed the police, but yet again, nobody ever was found. Haunted Rooms Reader Story. This is from Paul Tonya. During 1964 to 1973, she remembers of the Kent ambulance service based at Medway. One Christmas Eve, while driving back from Maidstone Hospital in an ambulance, after taking a patient there, they were driving up Bluebell Hill, when suddenly my co-driver and myself noticed a person in what appeared to be wearing a wedding dress step out into the road. I slowed down and I leaned out of the cab window, asked her where she was going at this time of night. All she wanted was a lift, so I jumped out and opened the rear of the ambulance door, and she got in. When we drove to Rochester, I turned my head and called out to her, but the ambulance was empty. That is a true story. Dang.